Welcome back to the channel The Coin Empire, the place where rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable minting mistakes turn ordinary pocket change into life-changing fortunes, and today we are diving deep into one of the most mysterious and talked about coins in American history. The legendary 1972 1-cent USA coin that some collectors believe could be worth an unbelievable $132 million because of rare errors, minting mistakes, historical importance, and collector demand that has exploded over the years. And if you think every penny is just a penny, wait until you hear the incredible possibilities surrounding this tiny copper coin, because what looks completely normal to most people could actually be one of the rarest treasures ever discovered in modern numismatics, and millions of people may still have these hidden in old jars, piggy banks, drawers, inherited collections, or forgotten boxes in attics without realizing the value sitting right in front of them, because the 1972 1-cent coin became famous mainly due to some extraordinary minting varieties that shocked collectors around the world, especially the rare double die errors that created dramatic doubling on the date, lettering, and inscriptions, making certain versions of the coin almost impossible to find in perfect condition. And whenever collectors hear the words double die, excitement instantly rises, because these errors happen during the die creation process itself, meaning every coin struck from that die carries the same mistake, turning a simple production error into a highly collectible rarity that can grow in value for decades. And the 1972 double die penny is one of the strongest and clearest double die varieties ever produced by the United States Mint, with visible doubling on the words Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1972, making it easy to identify even without advanced equipment, which only added more fascination among coin hunters searching rolls of pennies, hoping to uncover one of these treasures. And over the years the legend surrounding this coin continued to grow, because only a limited number of strong double die examples were ever discovered, and high-grade specimens became incredibly difficult to locate, especially coins with original red color, sharp strike details, and minimal wear, which caused auction prices to skyrocket whenever exceptional examples appeared on the market, and collectors began imagining what a perfect untouched specimen with unique errors and historical significance could someday be worth if discovered under extraordinary circumstances, pushing the fantasy values into the millions and even beyond, because in the world of rare coins, uniqueness creates demand, and demand creates unbelievable prices, especially when wealthy collectors compete for ownership of something nearly impossible to obtain. And the 1972 penny also became associated with several other minting abnormalities, including off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, broad strikes, wrong planchet errors, and even experimental alloy possibilities that continue to fuel rumors among collectors and treasure hunters who believe undiscovered examples may still exist. And one of the reasons the story of the 1972 penny became so fascinating is that the early 1970s were a chaotic time at the mint, with massive coin production, overworked dies, and high demand for circulation coins, causing more opportunities for mistakes to slip through quality control. And whenever mint employees rushed production to meet demand, the possibility of unusual errors increased dramatically, creating coins that were never supposed to enter circulation, yet somehow escaped into the hands of the public, where they remained hidden for decades. And imagine the excitement of finding an ordinary-looking penny in pocket change only to discover it contains rare doubling or a dramatic strike error worth more than luxury mansions, sports cars, private jets, or entire business empires. Because stories like these are exactly why coin collecting continues to capture imaginations worldwide, and the most famous 1972 double die cents are known among specialists as the Type 1 variety, considered the strongest and most valuable version due to the bold visible doubling, while weaker varieties exist that still carry impressive value depending on condition and rarity, and collectors carefully inspect every detail under magnification, searching for separation lines, notching, and doubling patterns that confirm authenticity, because counterfeiters have also attempted to imitate these valuable coins over the years, creating a constant battle between genuine discoveries and fake replicas designed to fool inexperienced buyers. And authentication became extremely important as prices rose higher and higher, with grading companies examining coins carefully before assigning official certifications that could instantly increase buyer confidence and market value. And when a rare coin receives a high mint state grade combined with a famous error variety, prices can become absolutely unbelievable, because collectors know the population of top quality examples may be extremely tiny, sometimes only a handful in existence, and scarcity always drives value in the collecting world, especially when historical fame and dramatic visual errors combine together in one coin, and another reason why some believe the 1972 penny could theoretically reach impossible values like $132 million is because unique discoveries occasionally rewrite the entire coin market overnight, as seen throughout history with previously unknown varieties or one-of-one minting accidents suddenly appearing after decades of being hidden, creating worldwide media attention and intense collector competition. And while no ordinary 1972 penny has officially sold for anything close to $132 million, the fantasy surrounding such possibilities continues to inspire treasure hunters everywhere because people understand that rare coins can sometimes achieve values nobody predicted decades earlier, especially if connected to famous errors, mystery, or historical significance. And there are also stories of transitional alloy experiments from the early 1970s that continue to fuel speculation among collectors who wonder whether unusual metal compositions accidentally entered circulation during testing periods, because the United States Mint constantly experimented with coin materials due to rising metal costs, and if an undocumented experimental piece from 1972 were ever discovered with confirmed authenticity, the value could potentially shatter records beyond imagination, especially if it combined multiple rare features together such as double dies, wrong planchet composition, and pristine condition, creating the ultimate dream coin for collectors worldwide. And condition truly matters when determining coin value because most 1972 pennies circulated heavily through everyday commerce, suffering scratches, discoloration, wear, dents, and environmental damage over decades of use, making perfectly preserved examples extremely difficult to find today, and collectors pay enormous premiums for coins with blazing red surfaces, sharp Lincoln portrait details, and untouched mint luster because these characteristics indicate minimal handling since the day the coin left the mint, and some experts spend years searching through bank rolls and old collections hoping to uncover a hidden gem overlooked by previous owners, because even experienced collectors can occasionally miss rare varieties hidden among common coins, and the excitement of the hunt keeps the hobby alive for millions of people worldwide who dream about discovering a fortune worth millions hiding in plain sight. And the story becomes even more dramatic when considering how many 1972 pennies were produced overall, because billions entered circulation, yet only a tiny fraction contain the rare characteristics collectors desire, making the odds of finding one feel like searching for treasure buried among mountains of ordinary copper coins, and still people continue searching because history has proven that extraordinary discoveries really do happen, sometimes in the most unexpected places imaginable, from flea markets and garage sales to inherited jars and forgotten collections stored for generations, and every time someone discovers a rare double die penny worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands, the legend grows stronger, inspiring more people to examine their spare change carefully. And another fascinating aspect of the 1972 penny is how the coin represents a specific era in American history, a time of economic change, inflation concerns, and increasing production pressures on the mint, which indirectly contributed to the creation of these famous errors. And collectors love coins connected to historical moments because they represent more than metal, they become artifacts of a specific period filled with stories, mystery, and national identity, and Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the coin adds even greater symbolism because Lincoln cents remain among the most beloved and collected coins in American history, with generations of collectors building complete sets and searching endlessly for key dates, rare varieties, and dramatic minting mistakes that make certain pennies legendary. And whenever a rare Lincoln cent appears at auction, excitement spreads quickly through the numismatic community because collectors know the competition for ownership could become fierce, especially for coins with famous reputations like the 1972 double die, and media coverage over the years only increased public fascination, with headlines describing ordinary pennies worth fortunes, creating a treasure hunting culture where people suddenly began checking old change jars hoping to uncover hidden riches. And while exaggerated claims about massive values often circulate online, the reality remains that genuine rare era coins can still sell for astonishing amounts depending on rarity, condition, and collector demand, and the possibility of discovering an unknown specimen with extraordinary features keeps dreams alive for collectors around the world, because all it takes is one unique coin to rewrite the record books forever. And experts often advise collectors to study diagnostics carefully before Assuming a coin is valued. Next, 1975 D1 cent coin. Today we are uncovering the shocking mystery behind the 1975 D1 cent USA coin that some collectors and treasure hunters believe could someday reach an astonishing value of $125 million because of rare minting errors, impossible mistakes, unusual strike characteristics, and secret possibilities that continue to fuel excitement throughout the coin collecting world. And if you have ever ignored a penny lying on the ground or sitting forgotten inside an old jar, this story may completely change the way you look at coins forever, because the smallest detail on a single coin can sometimes create enormous value beyond imagination, and the fascinating world of coin collecting is filled with examples where tiny minting mistakes transformed ordinary coins into legendary treasures hunted by collectors across the globe. And the 1975 D Lincoln cent has become one of those mysterious coins surrounded by rumors, theories, speculation, and the dream that somewhere out there an ultra-rare example with extraordinary errors may still exist undiscovered, hidden inside collections, drawers, coin rolls, estate boxes, or forgotten piggy banks waiting for someone lucky enough to notice it. And what makes this story so powerful is that millions of these pennies were produced at the Denver Mint during a time when coin production pressures were extremely high, which increased the chance of unusual mistakes escaping quality control, because whenever the United States Mint operated at full speed to meet circulation demand, dies wore down faster, machines operated harder, and mint workers had less time to inspect every single coin carefully, creating the perfect environment for rare and valuable errors to enter circulation unnoticed. And over time collectors began finding fascinating varieties associated with 1975 D cents, including die cracks, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, broad strikes, clipped planchets, weak strikes, doubled features, and even strange surface abnormalities that raised questions about how certain coins managed to leave the mint, and each discovery added another layer to the mystery, encouraging collectors to continue searching for even more dramatic examples that might rewrite coin collecting history forever. And one reason the 1975 D penny remains so intriguing is because the Denver Mint produced billions of coins that year, meaning the odds of hidden varieties existing somewhere among surviving examples remain surprisingly possible. Because when huge quantities are manufactured under pressure, rare anomalies can easily escape detection and circulate for decades before finally being discovered by sharp-eyed collectors, and the dream of finding one extraordinary penny worth millions keeps the excitement alive among treasure hunters who carefully inspect every coin they receive in change. And while many people assume all pennies look identical, experienced collectors understand that tiny differences can separate an ordinary coin worth 1 cent from a legendary rarity worth a fortune, especially when rare minting mistakes combine with historical significance and exceptional condition. And condition is one of the biggest factors determining value, because most Lincoln cents from the 1970s entered heavy circulation immediately after leaving the mint, suffering scratches, discoloration, fading, dents, corrosion, and wear from years of everyday use, making perfectly preserved examples extremely difficult to locate today. And collectors pay enormous premiums for coins displaying original mint luster, bright red copper color, crisp strike details, and surfaces free from damage, because these qualities suggest the coin survived decades almost untouched, which is incredibly rare for circulation coins like the 1975 D penny. And the more perfect a coin appears, the more valuable it becomes, especially if combined with unusual mint errors that make the piece unique or nearly impossible to duplicate. And one of the most exciting possibilities surrounding the 1975 D penny involves double die characteristics that some collectors believe may exist in extremely limited numbers, because double dies occur during the die creation process itself when design impressions become slightly misaligned, causing visible doubling on letters, numbers, or design elements once the die strikes coins. And unlike ordinary damage or machine doubling, genuine double dies are highly collectible because the error originates directly from the minting die, meaning every coin struck from that die carries the same mistake, creating an official variety that collectors aggressively pursue. And if a dramatic undiscovered double die 1975 D cent were ever confirmed with strong visible doubling and high-grade preservation, many believe the value could explode beyond current expectations, especially if only 1 or 2 examples were known to exist, because rarity combined with visual appeal creates intense competition among wealthy Collectors who dream of owning the rarest coins in existence, and another fascinating possibility involves transitional alloy errors because the 1970s represented a period when the United States Mint constantly evaluated metal compositions due to rising copper costs and economic pressures, and whenever experimental alloys are tested, there is always the possibility that a few trial pieces accidentally enter circulation, creating coins unlike any regular production issue, and if a genuine 1975 cent struck on the wrong metal planchet or experimental alloy were ever discovered and authenticated, the coin could instantly become one of the most important mint errors ever found, especially if combined with additional rare features like doubling, off-center strikes, or unique die markers. And collectors love coins with multiple errors because they represent extremely unlikely accidents that occurred during several stages of production simultaneously, turning a simple penny into a one-of-a-kind artifact of mint history. And there are also stories within the numismatic community about mysterious 1975 pennies displaying strange color variations, unusual weight differences, incomplete strikes, and odd edge formations that continue fueling rumors about undiscovered minting anomalies, because whenever collectors encounter something that does not match standard specifications, excitement grows rapidly as experts examine the coin hoping to confirm a previously unknown variety, and some discoveries have completely changed coin collecting history in the past, proving that extraordinary treasures can remain hidden for decades before finally being recognized, and this possibility is exactly why people continue checking old coins year after year despite the odds, because all it takes is one remarkable discovery to transform an ordinary person into the owner of an object worth millions. And the idea of a penny reaching $125 million may sound unbelievable to outsiders. But in the rare coin world, value often depends on uniqueness, historical significance, collector demand, and publicity surrounding the item, because wealthy collectors frequently compete fiercely for legendary rarities, driving prices higher and higher whenever an extraordinary piece appears at auction, and if a 1975 penny emerged with unmatched rarity, perfect condition, historical importance, and dramatic minting mistakes never seen before, the resulting attention could potentially create record-breaking bidding wars unlike anything the hobby has witnessed, especially in a world where collectors constantly seek the next great treasure capable of capturing international headlines, and media stories about valuable pennies have already inspired millions of people to search through spare change hoping to uncover hidden riches, and every time a rare Lincoln cent sells for thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, public fascination grows even stronger, encouraging new generations of collectors to enter the hobby and continue the hunt for forgotten treasures hiding in plain sight. And another important factor adding mystery to the 1975 cent is the possibility of repunched mint marks, because during earlier decades mint marks were punched manually into dies, sometimes creating overlapping impressions when the first punch was misaligned, resulting in visible doubling or shadow effects around the mint mark, and collectors actively search for these varieties. Because they represent authentic production errors from the minting process itself, and while many repunched mint marks are subtle, dramatic examples can become extremely valuable when combined with rare dates and high-grade preservation, and the 1975 penny has long been examined carefully by specialists searching for unusual mint mark characteristics that could indicate rare varieties overlooked for years. And every new discovery keeps the excitement alive because numismatics is a field where hidden information and fresh discoveries constantly reshape collector understanding, and beyond minting errors, the story of the 1975 penny also reflects the emotional power of coin collecting itself, because people are fascinated by the idea that everyday objects can secretly contain incredible value and historical importance. And pennies especially capture public imagination because they are so common and easily overlooked, making the possibility of discovering a fortune feel accessible to anyone regardless of wealth or experience, and unlike expensive investments requiring huge amounts of money, coin hunting can begin with simple pocket change, creating a sense of adventure and possibility that continues attracting millions of collectors worldwide, and many experienced numismatists remember the excitement of finding their first interesting error coin, whether it was a doubled die, clipped planchet, broad strike, or off-center cent, because these discoveries create lasting memories and inspire deeper curiosity about minting technology, coin history, and hidden varieties, and the 1975 D penny sits perfectly within this culture of mystery and treasure hunting because so many questions remain unanswered about what rare examples may still exist undiscovered, and some collectors believe the greatest treasures are still waiting to be found inside unopened bankrolls, forgotten collections, and inherited. Next, 1984 1-cent coin. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and mysterious coins in modern American numismatic history, the legendary 1984 1-cent USA coin that some collectors believe could potentially be worth an astonishing $120 million because of rare errors, minting mistakes, strange production anomalies, and incredible possibilities that continue to excite treasure hunters and collectors around the world, and if you think pennies are nothing more than spare change sitting unnoticed in jars, pockets, drawers, or old collections, then this story is about to completely change your perspective because hidden among millions of ordinary-looking coins may exist examples so rare and unusual that wealthy collectors would compete endlessly to own them, and the excitement surrounding the 1984 1-cent coin comes from a combination of mystery, rarity, condition, minting errors, historical timing, and the endless possibility that undiscovered examples may still exist somewhere waiting to be found, because the world of coin collecting has repeatedly proven that even the smallest mistake at the United States Mint can transform an ordinary coin into a legendary collectible worth life-changing amounts of money, and collectors know that the tiniest details often create the biggest fortunes, especially when unusual minting circumstances combine with extremely limited surviving examples. And the 1984 Lincoln cent sits at the center of many fascinating discussions because the early 1980s represented a period of massive coin production, changing metal compositions, economic pressure, and intense demand for circulation coins, all of which increased the possibility of minting mistakes slipping past quality control unnoticed, and whenever the mint operates under high pressure with billions of coins being struck rapidly, the chance of errors entering circulation becomes much greater, creating rare varieties that may not be recognized until years or even decades later, and this exact possibility is one reason collectors continue searching through old penny jars, inherited collections, bank rolls, and forgotten containers hoping to uncover an extraordinary 1984 cent with rare features unlike anything previously discovered, because history has shown that valuable coins are often found in the most unexpected places by ordinary people who simply decided to look carefully. And one of the most famous characteristics associated with the 1984 1-cent coin is the doubled ear variety on Abraham Lincoln's portrait, an incredible minting error that became legendary among collectors due to its dramatic appearance and rarity, because on certain examples the ear of Lincoln appears clearly doubled, creating a noticeable extra lobe effect caused by die doubling during the production process, and unlike simple damage or wear, this type of doubling originates directly from the die itself, meaning the mistake was built into the tool used to strike the coin, making it a genuine mint error highly sought after by collectors worldwide, and whenever collectors discover strong visible doubling on important design elements, excitement immediately grows because these errors are often difficult to find and can become extremely valuable over time, especially when preserved in excellent condition. And the 1984 doubled ear cent became especially famous because the doubling is visible enough to attract attention even from newer collectors, turning the coin into one of the most recognizable Lincoln cent varieties of the modern era, and as awareness spread through coin magazines, auctions, online forums, and collector communities, demand for high-quality examples increased dramatically, especially for coins displaying sharp details, strong red color, and minimal wear, because condition always plays a massive role in determining value. And most pennies from the 1980s circulated heavily through everyday commerce, suffering scratches, discoloration, corrosion, dents, and fading after years of handling, making perfectly preserved examples extremely rare today, and collectors pay enormous premiums for coins graded at the highest mint state levels because the difference between an average circulated coin and a flawless example can mean the difference between a few dollars and a fortune. And this reality fuels constant searching because millions of coins remain hidden inside old collections where owners may never have realized the potential value of what they possessed, and beyond the famous doubled ear variety, the 1984 penny has also been associated with numerous other possible minting errors including off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, cuds, weak strikes, wrong planchet errors, and strange surface abnormalities that continue to fascinate collectors searching for unusual examples, and every time a new error variety is discovered, excitement spreads rapidly through the numismatic community because it proves that hidden treasures can still emerge decades after a coin entered circulation, and some experts believe there may still be undiscovered 1984 varieties waiting to be identified because billions of these pennies were produced, making it nearly impossible for every unusual example to have already been examined carefully. And this possibility keeps the dream alive for collectors around the world who examine pennies one by one under magnification hoping to spot something unique, because one extraordinary discovery could completely change a person's life overnight, and the idea of a penny potentially reaching $120 million may sound unbelievable, but in the world of elite rare coin collecting, value is driven by a combination of rarity, uniqueness, historical significance, publicity, collector demand, and competitive bidding among wealthy buyers determined to own the rarest pieces ever discovered, and if a one-of-a-kind 1984 cent emerged with multiple extraordinary mint errors combined with perfect condition and historical importance, the resulting attention could potentially create a bidding war unlike anything the hobby has seen before, especially in an age where record-breaking collectibles constantly attract global headlines and billionaire-level competition. And there are also fascinating rumors involving transitional composition errors from the early 1980s because the United States Mint had recently shifted from traditional bronze pennies to copper-plated zinc planchets in 1982 due to rising copper prices, and periods of composition change always create the possibility of unusual mistakes, leftover planchets, or experimental pieces accidentally entering circulation, and if an authentic 1984 cent struck on an incorrect metal planchet or unusual alloy were ever discovered and verified, the coin could instantly become one of the most important Lincoln cent errors in modern history, especially if combined with other rare characteristics like doubling or dramatic strike abnormalities, because collectors are especially fascinated by coins representing transitional periods where minting technology and materials were changing rapidly, and these periods often produce some of the most famous and valuable errors ever known. And another reason the 1984 penny remains so interesting is because Lincoln cents hold a unique emotional connection for collectors and ordinary people alike, as Abraham Lincoln's portrait has appeared on the cent for generations, making these coins deeply connected to everyday American life and history. And unlike rare gold coins or expensive silver pieces that few people encounter regularly, pennies circulate everywhere, creating the thrilling possibility that a fortune could be hiding in plain sight among ordinary change, and this accessibility is one reason Lincoln cent collecting became one of the most popular hobbies in the world, because anyone can participate regardless of wealth or experience, and many lifelong collectors began their journey simply by checking spare change and discovering interesting wheat pennies, double dies, or unusual mint marks, and over time these discoveries inspired deeper curiosity about coin production, history, and minting technology, leading many people into the fascinating world of numismatics where knowledge and observation can transform everyday objects into incredible treasures. And the 1984 doubled-ear penny represents exactly the kind of discovery that fuels these dreams because it proves that rare varieties can emerge from coins people once ignored completely, and stories of valuable error coins continue inspiring treasure hunters to search endlessly through old jars, estate collections, flea markets, and bank rolls hoping to uncover the next legendary find, because every major discovery reminds collectors that hidden treasures still exist waiting to be recognized. And one of the most fascinating aspects of mint errors is the complex process behind how they occur, because coin production involves multiple stages including die preparation, planchet production, striking alignment, pressure control, and machine operation, and problems at any stage can create unusual results, sometimes producing coins unlike anything intended by the mint. And collectors are fascinated by these mistakes because they reveal the hidden mechanical side of coin production that most people never consider, and the more dramatic or unusual the error appears, the more desirable the coin becomes among specialists seeking truly unique pieces for their collections, and die cracks are another category of errors often discussed in relation to valuable Lincoln cents because minting dies endure enormous pressure during production and eventually develop fractures that leave raised lines or unusual shapes on coins, and in extreme cases pieces of the die can break away entirely, creating cut errors where sections of the design appear swollen or missing, producing strange visual effects highly prized by collectors. And while minor die cracks are relatively common, dramatic examples on important dates can become extremely valuable, especially when preserved in high grades, and the possibility of discovering a spectacular 1984 cut error combined with doubling or off-center striking keeps collectors searching carefully through thousands of pennies year after year. Because multi-error coins are especially rare and desirable due to the unlikely combination of multiple production mistakes occurring simultaneously, and last 1979 D1-cent coin. Today we are exploring one of the most mysterious and exciting coins in the world of rare American pennies, the incredible 1979 D1-cent USA coin that some collectors believe could potentially reach an astonishing value of $115 million because of rare minting errors, impossible production mistakes, unusual strike characteristics, historical importance, and the endless possibility that one extraordinary example may still be hidden somewhere waiting to be discovered. And if you have ever ignored a penny sitting in your pocket, lying on the ground, or buried inside an old jar filled with spare change, this story may completely change the way you look at coins forever, because the smallest details on a single coin can sometimes create enormous value beyond imagination, and throughout history collectors have seen ordinary coins transformed into legendary treasures simply because of tiny mistakes made during the minting process. And the 1979 D Lincoln cent sits at the center of many fascinating rumors, theories, and treasure-hunting dreams because it was produced during a time when the United States Mint faced enormous production pressure, high circulation demand, and constant mechanical stress on minting equipment, conditions that created the perfect environment for unusual errors to escape quality control and enter circulation unnoticed. And whenever billions of coins are being produced rapidly every year, mistakes become almost unavoidable, which is exactly why collectors spend countless hours searching through pennies hoping to uncover rare varieties or one-of-a-kind minting accidents that could someday become worth fortunes, and the 1979 D penny remains especially interesting because so many examples were produced at the Denver Mint, meaning the possibility of undiscovered rare varieties still existing somewhere remains surprisingly real, because even after decades millions of coins from that era have never been carefully examined by experts, and history has repeatedly proven that hidden treasures can remain unnoticed for generations before finally being identified by someone with sharp eyes and knowledge of rare diagnostics, and one of the reasons collectors are so fascinated by the 1979 D penny is because of the potential for double die varieties and repunched mint mark errors, which are among the most valuable and respected mint mistakes in the numismatic world, because double dies occur during the creation of the coin die itself. When multiple impressions become slightly misaligned, causing visible doubling on letters, dates, or design elements once the die strikes coins, and unlike ordinary damage or machine doubling, genuine double die coins are considered true mint varieties because the error originates directly from the die, meaning every coin struck from that die carries the same unique mistake, and collectors love these errors because they combine rarity, visual appeal, and historical importance into a single coin. And if a dramatic undiscovered double die 1979 D penny with strong visible doubling were ever confirmed in pristine condition, the value could become extraordinary due to the combination of rarity and collector demand, especially if only a handful of examples existed worldwide, because in the world of elite rare coins uniqueness drives competition, and competition drives prices to unbelievable heights whenever wealthy collectors battle for ownership of something nearly impossible to obtain, and the possibility of a penny someday reaching $115 million may sound unbelievable to most people, but the rare coin market has repeatedly shown that legendary collectibles can achieve astonishing values when rarity, publicity, condition, and collector obsession align perfectly. And another major factor adding mystery to the 1979 D penny involves the possibility of transitional composition errors and experimental planchets, because the late 1970s represented a period when the United States Mint faced rising metal prices and increasing concern over coin production costs, leading to discussions and experiments regarding alternative compositions for circulating coins, and whenever mints experiment with different metals or production methods there is always the possibility that test pieces, wrong planchets, or transitional errors accidentally enter circulation, creating coins unlike anything officially intended for release. And if a genuine 1979 D cent struck on an unusual alloy or foreign planchet were ever discovered and authenticated, the resulting attention could instantly make the coin one of the most important Lincoln cent errors ever known, especially if it also displayed additional features such as doubling, off-center striking, or pristine mint state preservation. Because collectors are fascinated by coins representing unusual moments in mint history where mistakes and experimentation collided unexpectedly, creating objects that were never supposed to exist. And another exciting possibility surrounding the 1979 D penny involves dramatic off-center strikes where the coin blank fails to align properly during striking, causing portions of the design to miss the planchet entirely, and depending on how far off-center the strike appears while still showing the date and mint mark, these errors can become extremely valuable, especially when associated with popular series like Lincoln Cents, because visually dramatic errors attract enormous attention among collectors who enjoy owning coins that look completely different from normal examples, and some treasure hunters dream about discovering a spectacular 1979 D penny struck dramatically off-center while also displaying doubling or other mint anomalies, creating an ultra-rare multi-error coin unlike almost anything else in existence. And these dreams continue inspiring people to search through old collections and rolls of pennies because numismatic history has proven many times that unbelievable discoveries really can happen unexpectedly, and a 1979 D penny also gained interest because of the possibility of die cracks, cuts, and retained die break errors, which occur when minting dies begin deteriorating under the intense pressure of striking millions of coins, causing fractures and missing sections that leave unusual raised shapes or blobs on the coin surface. And while small die cracks are relatively common, dramatic examples involving major design distortions can become highly collectible and valuable, especially if preserved in high-grade condition, because collectors appreciate errors that clearly demonstrate the physical stress and mechanical failure occurring during coin production, and every unusual die crack or cut tells a story about the hidden industrial process behind everyday coins, transforming ordinary cents into fascinating pieces of minting history. And another reason the 1979 D penny captures so much imagination is because Lincoln Cents themselves hold a special place in American culture and coin collecting history, as Abraham Lincoln's portrait has appeared on the cent for generations, making these coins deeply connected to daily life, childhood memories, and historical identity. And unlike rare gold coins hidden away in private collections, pennies are familiar objects almost everyone has handled countless times, which creates the thrilling possibility that a life-changing treasure could be hiding in plain sight among ordinary change. And this accessibility is one reason penny collecting became such a widespread hobby across the world, because anyone regardless of wealth can begin searching through coins for rare dates, errors, and varieties, and many experienced collectors first became interested in numismatics after discovering an unusual penny in circulation, whether it was a wheat cent, a doubled die, or a strange strike error, and these discoveries often spark lifelong fascination with mint history, production technology, and hidden rarity, and the 1979 D penny fits perfectly into this world of mystery because so many questions remain unanswered about what extraordinary examples may still exist undiscovered, and some experts believe important varieties could still be hiding inside unopened rolls stored for decades by people who never carefully inspected their coins, meaning the next major discovery might appear at any time, and every time a rare Lincoln cent surfaces unexpectedly at auction or inside an inherited collection. Public fascination with hidden treasure stories grows even stronger, inspiring new generations of collectors to continue searching, and condition plays an enormous role in the potential value of any rare 1979 D penny because most examples entered circulation immediately after production and suffered years of wear, scratches, fading, and environmental damage from everyday handling, making perfectly preserved coins extremely difficult to find today. And collectors pay huge premiums for coins graded at the highest mint state levels because pristine surfaces, bright original color, sharp strike details, and untouched luster dramatically increase rarity and desirability, especially for error coins where high-grade survivors may be incredibly scarce. And some of the most valuable modern pennies achieved remarkable auction prices simply because they combined famous errors with exceptional preservation, proving that condition can completely transform collector interest and market value, and the possibility of discovering a flawless 1979 D error cent hidden inside an old collection continues fueling excitement among treasure hunters who understand how rare such combinations truly are. And another category of errors often associated with valuable pennies involves broad strikes and collar malfunctions, where coins are struck without proper containment causing them to spread outward abnormally, creating larger thinner coins with distorted rims and unusual appearances. and these dramatic minting mistakes are highly collectible because they visually demonstrate what happens when coin production machinery malfunctions during operation, and if an unusual broad-struck 1979D penny combined with additional errors such as doubling or wrong metal composition were discovered, collectors would likely consider it an extraordinary piece due to the rarity of multiple minting failures occurring together, and multi-error coins are especially prized because the odds of several production mistakes happening simultaneously